There exists a difference between life and intelligent life. But how exactly can we define intelligent life? Or, put another way, what separates us from other creatures like the mighty octopus? Japan's railways are renowned for their efficiency. Some of the world's best engineers spent countless months designing them to be efficient. And yet, slime mold can achieve similar results in just over a day. When researchers arranged oat flakes in a pattern that resembled how Japan's cities were scattered around Tokyo, the slime mold formed a network of tubes that connected the oat flakes, a network that looked eerily similar to that of Japan's rail network. It took the mold 26 hours to do what it took human engineers months to achieve. And more recently, scientists at NASA are using the same slime mold to create computer algorithms, allowing them to map the dark matter that holds the universe together. Slime mold can solve seemingly complex problems without having a nervous system, nor does it even have any real awareness of the problems that it's trying to solve. But while all this may leave us all awash in wonder, few of us, including the scientists at NASA seeking out slime mold's help, would call it an example of intelligent life. That's because slime mold, like a lot of other organisms, has an evolutionary kind of intelligence that's more machine-like than first impressions would lead us to believe. The mold first creates a mesh network around its starting point, before branching off and comparing each point on the petri dish to the points adjacent to it. This allows the mold to create a map of sorts, revealing the most efficient path from one oat fill point to another. From there onwards, the mold only really has to connect the dots. It doesn't really make any real decisions for itself. All of its decisions are predetermined, they're pre-programmed by millions and millions of years of evolution. This kind of evolutionary intelligence can be found everywhere you look. You'll find it on display in plants, trees, fungi, and even bacteria. All of these organisms are very successful, but none of them have a brain. None of them even have a nervous system. Not a single nerve cell or neuron to be seen. What all of these organisms do have, and incidentally all that they actually need to survive and thrive, are a number of fixed behaviors. These fixed behaviors are hardwired into them and will be triggered by the activation of a number of fixed senses whose job it is to respond to stimuli in the environment. Evolution takes care of everything else. Natural selection selects the organisms with the best combination of fixed behaviors and fixed senses, increasing the odds that their genes will be passed on to the next generation. Intelligent life must therefore be individually intelligent. It must not be hardwired with fixed behaviors and fixed senses, but must be able to adapt to the short-term changes within its environment, rather than having to wait entire generations for natural selection to come in and do all the heavy lifting. Some of humanity's greatest achievements, as well as admittedly some of humanity's greatest failings, were accomplished over the course of a single lifetime. Intelligent life must be capable of learning from its mistakes through trial and error. This is the kind of intelligence that we see in humans and many other animals like birds, rats, the octopus, dogs, and cats. This is a reinforcement kind of intelligence that's based on interacting, engaging, rather than responding to the external environment. An octopus doesn't escape from its aquarium on its first try. It tries and it tries and it tries, testing out new approaches and carefully observing each and every outcome until it finally cracks the code. Anyone who's dealt with a feral cat knows that cats weren't always friendly and lovable creatures. It was only 10,000 years ago or so that the ancestors of today's domestic cats realized that they'd probably be better off living with humans. Was it really a coincidence that this just happened to be the time when humans experienced an enormous improvement in quality of life, going from hunter-gatherers to farmers? If you're interested, check the description for a link on a blog piece I wrote about the time when humans met their cat overlords. You'll also find all of this video's references at the end of the same blog piece, so check it out if you'd like to learn more. But humans are different. Our brains are different. For starters, our brains are enormous, at least for the size of our bodies. Our brains make up around 2% of our total body mass. While this may seem like a tiny number, cats' brains only make up 0.8% of their total body mass. Even our primate cousins seem to be kind of stuck with everyone else, with chimpanzee brains accounting for 0.8% and gorilla brains accounting for 0.5% of their total body masses. It seems like we're far ahead of the curve, but it was never meant to be that way. When comparing the brain-to-body ratios of humans and chimpanzees, we discover the most curious phenomenon. Human brain-to-body growth matches that of chimpanzees right until birth, and that's when everything starts to change. That's when we diverge. During childhood, our brains continue to grow rapidly, while the infant chimpanzee's brain hits a wall. The chimpanzee's brains can't keep up, and it quickly falls behind. Studying the skulls of our early hominin ancestors reveals that their brain growth trajectories looked more like that of the chimpanzee than it did like our own, which isn't exactly surprising. It seems that we diverged, we changed 3 million years ago. The word mutation is often associated with cancer and often regarded with suspicion, so much so that we tend to forget that novel mutations can be beneficial. Gene duplications are a type of gene mutation where a gene duplicates itself, creating multiple adjacent copies. More genes means more of the proteins expressed by those genes. It seems like it was an ancient gene duplication that made humans human. Of course, I'm talking about the Notch2NL gene, which didn't just undergo a single duplication but underwent 3 duplications, leaving modern humans with 4 copies. Interestingly, gorillas and chimpanzees seem to have only acquired a single partial duplication. This duplication was repaired in our ancestors before our ancestors managed to acquire a further 2 duplications in the same gene. Notch2NL regulates neurogenesis, extending the period over which new nerve cells are created from neuronal stem cells. It therefore greatly increases brain size. The Notch2NL mutation is a single point in time where our future was rewritten. If you manage to get past all the doom and gloom, you'll find that we've managed to achieve quite a lot with our big brains. Our big brains allowed for increased processing power, allowing us to learn not just through evolution and trial and error, but also through our abstract thoughts. You don't need to have lived through the French Revolution to understand the chaos and fear that filled the air back then. The NASA scientists working on the first space mission figured out microgravity before sending any humans or animals to space. We can imagine things. Imagination is our secret superpower, one that opens up an untold number of possibilities. You can certainly learn a lot by trial and error, but everything that you learn will be constrained by what your immediate surroundings are. What imagination does is it shatters those walls, allowing you to envision events that have never happened, explore possibilities that can never be, and dream up alternative worlds and timelines. But imagination is by definition infinitely finite. There are countless ideas to explore, far too many for a single lifetime. But while the brain's networks are vast, the case of the Notch2NL gene duplication tells us that there must be some kind of biological limit that we may or may not be aware of. I sometimes wonder, do other animals like dogs and cats feel the constraints of their cognition, or are they blissfully ignorant? Are we blissfully ignorant? Much like the universe, our vast minds have their ends that we may never reach or even be aware of. My name is Hashim Nami, medical doctor. This is my YouTube channel where I make videos about the human brain. Subscribe if that just happens to be your cup of tea.